Hello and welcome to another episode of the AutoTrader Podcast. My name is Wandile Sishi.
And I'm George Mienie.
And we're back in the studio again. Nothing too crazy this week. I mean, we had the Halloween episode 2 weeks ago. Last week's episode, we were speaking about... Why have I forgotten what's happened a week ago?
Well, I mean, if you want me to derail the conversation, I'm just reading a message that there's flood warnings.
Oh, in Joburg or?
Yeah. No, listen to this. Flood warnings.
Immediate derailments.
Gauteng weather just tweeted.
Yeah.
Just X'd. What do we say now?
I think it's still... Yeah, I have no idea. X'd.
Just X'd. Like just X'd.
Yeah, just X'd.
Just X'd. So, flood-prone areas. Alexandra, Bedford View, Benoni, Centurion, Edenvale, Fourways, Joburg CBD, Kempton Park, Soweto, M3, M1 and R23 highways, areas around Ixka, areas around Henops, areas with litter problems.
What does it mean? Areas...
Seriously.
Does that?
Yeah, it's just areas with litter problems.
I can totally agree. It's going to block out the litter's going to block out the little vents where the water goes out. So that makes sense. What do you do? I mean, ironically, that's what we're talking about today. Is we're talking about it's November, which is Child Safety Month. I don't think in South Africa, but like globally, a few countries consider November as Child Safety Month. So, in that scenario, what does a warning like that mean? Does it mean
be careful?
Be careful. It's not immediately.
No, I don't think that doesn't look like they're predicting floods.
Yeah.
But it is raining heavily.
It hasn't stopped raining for a few hours now.
Yeah, so if it continues like this for long enough, the stormwater drains start to dam up.
Yeah.
And then there's nowhere for the water to go. Has to travel above ground.
Yeah.
And that's where the floods start.
That's what happened to Durban a few years ago.
So you just make sure you are in on high ground if those things happen.
I parked my car underground today. Could be a bad thing. But my car's not electric. I think you have it way worse. Yeah. I wonder what happens in that. If your car gets... Is there like a... What does it do? Does it just shut off? You would assume it would.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if the electrical components get wet, the car's gonna...
It doesn't become like a giant, short-circuited board or anything like that, right? You're probably okay.
I don't know.
We should probably find...
I know a lot about electric cars. I don't know the answer to this one.
What happens if you drive an electric car in through, I don't know, like a meter wake of water? Does it become a risk?
Interesting. If a car is found submerged, the circuit breakers are designed to trip.
Okay, okay, thank heavens.
They're shutting down the power and avoiding any dangerous outcome.
I mean, you wouldn't just shock yourself, you shock everybody. Everyone around you is like a...
So while the electric car is not likely to catch fire or explode, it will still suffer the same journey, halting its effects on any car that is flooded.
Yeah, okay. Well, there
you go. What happens to electric car if you drive it into a flood?
The more you know, you're safe, George. But let's keep an eye out for that. I mean,
what's going to break? The electronic circuitry is going to...
You probably have to replace that. But in any car...
Yeah, likely. Depends if it gets wet while it's...
Like in operation.
While it's in operation, then you're going to get short circuits and then you're going to break the PC boards.
Yeah.
I suppose if the car's off and it trips... chances are you could dry it out.
I'm actually following on YouTube. There's a guy who's rebuilding a P1, which was submerged in water.
Yeah, as long as the engine's not running.
And the car wasn't running at the time, but he has to replace pretty much everything. But it was mostly a result of not like electrical damage. It was just rust. And that sort of thing,
Yeah.
Moving on. So it is Child Safety Month, which, around the world is basically highlighting anything to kind of protect children in general. And us being AutoTrader, I thought maybe we could just talk about child safety with regards to vehicles.
Let me just vent for a second because this is it's a big bugbear of mine.
Yeah.
When you see a car in the traffic and there's a child romping around just the back of the car.
in the back seats, yeah.
Like I've been behind cars where the child is standing on the back seat looking at me out of the back window.
Yeah.
And I think that is an atrocious parent.
Yeah. Irresponsible, at least, in that scenario.
Absolutely irresponsible. Yeah. That is, that's deadly for that child.
Yeah.
Absolutely deadly.
I was who's this? Me and my manager were busy watching a video of if you brake at different speeds, and if you're braking at 50 and braking at 100, the difference is it's exponential in terms of how safe you are or how likely you are to survive that accident.
So your body, I need to recall this out of my memory files, but your body is capable of withstanding momentary
Yeah.
100 Gs.
Yeah. That's like
About.
for a second before
For like a
Yeah.
millisecond.
a minute. Yeah, I can't even be like a second too long. Yeah.
But it can't withstand that multiple times in a row. So your body can withstand, I think it's up to 100 Gs like momentarily,
yeah.
like in a crash, right? But it can't sustain that. It can't have that in a sustained form. Maximum sustained G-force is, I think, 9 Gs,
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's fighter jet pilots are experiencing around there for a few seconds.
9, 10 Gs. So you can imagine if you sustain 100 Gs,
Yeah.
like in a car, I'm pretty sure a car crash is more than 100 Gs.
Max Verstappen's crash 2 years ago was 53 Gs. That was just insane. And I know at Silverstone they're doing about six Gs on those little.
Yeah, that's sustained Gs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I might be wrong. I think it was 100 Gs. Yeah, sustained is 9.
Yeah.
So human body can withstand no more than 9 Gs for a few seconds.
Yeah.
So momentary, you can sustain more, but if it's more than a few seconds and it's more than 9 Gs, you bug it.
Yeah, but I mean, in that scenario, you still need something to slow you down. I mean, Max hit 53 Gs because he was like stopping immediately, right?
Yeah,
so
the most
what is
the
that?
most Gs a human body has ever. Sorry, it's not 100 Gs. I'm wrong. Most Gs a human body has ever tolerated was 46.2 by an Air Force officer.
Sustained. That's probably the guy who was doing on the little rocket sled. I think I've seen that video.
I don't know.
I think it's him.
So now you imagine you've got a child romping around the back.
Yeah.
And you're doing 80 Ks an hour. So a sudden stop
At 80 Ks.
at 80 Ks. So sudden stop at 80 Ks, G-force is how many Gs?
We're doing around
18 Gs.
Okay, that was completely off. 18 Gs.
Sorry, that's 80 miles per hour. So 80 miles per hour is what 120 Ks an hour.
Yeah. Well,
So at 120, that's 18 Gs. There's a formula for this.
yeah.
That's the sudden stop.
18 Gs, yeah, you're not going to, bode well in that scenario. So
You can imagine at 120, so it's 60, it's 9 Gs. Okay.
Yeah.
And your body can't sustain 9 Gs for longer than a couple of seconds.
Does weight have an impact on this? So, like, if you heavier, lighter, does that have an impact on potentially how much G-forces you're experiencing at a time, or is it not really?
No, I mean, mass has an impact in terms of the force with which it hits something, but the G-force will still be the same. That's stopping G-force.
100%.
Because you've got to go from 100 to 0 in a matter of 0 seconds.
Yeah.
So a child romping around the back seat,
kind of extending the chances of any, of surviving any potential car accidents. So in South Africa, the leading cause of child injuries is actually, traffic related, is traffic injuries. So in South Africa, we have that problem with people not taking it as seriously as they can. So I thought maybe we should just go through some of, essential child safety rules to apply if you are driving around with a child in the back of your car.
strap the child in.
That's the first one.
I mean, my understanding of the reason for a car seat is because of the size and mass of the child.
Yep.
That's the reason for the car seat.
Yeah.
It's the child doesn't fit into the big human seat, the adult seat, and so therefore you need a smaller area to strap the child in. And I think the age is about 13 that you can start You can stop with the booster seat and the car
Okay.
seat, and so it's about where the seatbelt comes over the child's shoulder.
Yeah.
You don't want it cutting across the child's face.
Yeah.
That's why you wear you put the booster seat under the child's.
I would have had to
butt.
do it until I was like 15 then, because
No, but I mean, when I was a child, these things didn't exist.
yeah, they super existed in my days. So, but I don't even recall. I mean, when I was a baby, but I don't think I was like 13 years old when I stopped doing.
No, I mean a lot of parents, like at the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, they start taking the child out of the car seat.
So there's an interesting article on site right now by one of our journalists, Reno, who's talking about isofixes and how they work. So something that he noted, which is really interesting in that, is that 8 out of 10 participants in the study that they did in England, parents didn't actually know how to install car seats.
What, did they just park it on the back seat?
They put it on, but there's a certain way.
No, there's
to
two
actually put it in.
clips.
The isofix little hooks.
It's hooks that are attached to the car's structure that car seats are designed to clip onto.
But most people don't want to use that. And I think, one, we don't read manuals. I think that's the first problem. But there's also this level of almost assuming that you're going to be able to do it without going through it. So the first thing that we're suggesting is to, one, read the manual and understand exactly how that isofix works.
It's not that hard, eh?
8 out of 10, 80 people don't know how to use it. Even when they do put it on.
It's really not. It's got two extendable bolts,
Yeah.
or should I say little clips,
Yeah.
that you put the car seat down, you push them in, you clip it, you push the car seat against the back seat, boom,
It's done.
done.
I'm gonna test out this theory. I think we should shoot a video and see if you can
If I can put a
do it
car seat in,
properly.
for sure.
try and be the 2 out of 10 people that.
Because I think the worst kind of car seat is the one that uses seat belts.
So that was my next question. What happens in a scenario where you don't have isofix points? Some cars, like you're saying, are a bit older. They don't have isofix points.
Then you have to use the seatbelt method. So car seats come with the ability to attach the car seat to the seat belts.
Yeah.
They've got little
things.
grooves
Yeah.
and pathways that you put the seatbelt
Yeah.
that stop the car seat from flying forward.
So arguably, the isofix is obviously the best
Yes.
route to go, just because it's fixed to
fixed-
the chassis.
Well,
of the
it's
vehicle.
fixed to the car structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas the seatbelts, it's got a little bit of moving room, if that makes sense.
Well, think about how a seatbelt works. It's not.
It's not meant to just stop
It doesn't
immediately.
stop
Right? It's
immediately.
slowing down
It slows. So now you've got this car seat moving forward, and the child's in the car seat already with seatbelts on the car seat. So you've now got a big object that is
to slow down.
trying to hurtle forward.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So the other thing I've seen with car seats is, some single moms put their children in the passenger seat
So next to the driver.
next to the
essentially.
driver, facing backwards.
So-
So that they can drive and they can see their child,
Yeah.
right? And then that's why you get the button that turns the airbag off.
Yeah.
It's for that scenario as well as, but there's no isofixes in the front there. So you have to use seatbelts to do it. It's a bad idea.
So if you're going to face your child seat rear,
Well, that's for somebody sitting if you're going to face rear, that's for somebody sitting in the back.
okay.
So if you're driving as, the driver and the mom or the dad sitting in the back, they can then face the child because the child's facing rearward. That's fine.
Yeah.
As long as there's isofix.
Yeah. But with seatbelts, you're saying it's a different application.
Putting it in the front seat is the
Yeah.
problem. That's what I'm pointing out.
100%. I mean, these are all very valid. I think we should definitely link to the different articles we have. Something else that some people forget to do is activating the child safety locks. This is pretty standard in all cars now.
Well, I mean, nowadays you've got a button on the driver door.
Yeah.
My car's got a button on the driver door.
Yeah.
It disables the windows and disables the handles.
The
You can't open
handles.
the back door.
Yeah. So your child won't be able to open the door randomly. This is probably a problem with all the kids, assuming like a little
Yeah.
tween.
In the old days, you had to open the door, they flick a
Little flick
switch,
thing, yeah.
close it, and then you can. But I think that's a more dangerous method.
I think it's a safer method.
No, but if you have to get out in an emergency, the driver can't
Oh,
open
yeah.
the door for you.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't consider that part.
How are you going to
My
get out?
thing is, the reason why I'm saying that is because does it on your door tell you that it's currently activated
Yes.
or not? Because
There's
if
a
you
light.
don't know, then okay, there's a little light to indicate.
There's a light on the button. means it's on.
Well, in that scenario, yeah. But once again, use child locks. It's annoying for adults, but it's super beneficial for kids, I would say. And then how do you feel about like letting like children eat in the car whilst you're driving?
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on children is the only way a child gets to understand the world is by exploring, making mistakes.
What mistake are you letting them by eating in the car?
Teaching them that to eat without messing. Because do you eat in your car?
I do.
Okay, so why can't the child? How's he or she going to learn?
Well, I know how to keep it kind of safe. Well, not safe, but like...
Have you got leather seats?
I do, yeah.
So what's the problem?
Well, okay, the reason why I wouldn't...
How did you learn to eat in a car?
I would sneak some food.
So now you're sneaky.
Hey, it is what it is.
So we're teaching the children to be sneaky.
It is what it is. I wouldn't... Look, it depends what the food is for me. But I do think there are scenarios or there are some foods which could be a choking hazard.
Yeah, I think that's but if you're going to give your child a grape to eat, for instance.
No, you can have your Big Mac or whatever. But if they're eating like a lollipop, for instance,
that's
like
dumb.
I would.
That's dumb.
I would be like, can you not? Right now?
I wouldn't let a child eat a sweet in a car.
Yeah,
that's dangerous.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah, that's definitely
not the only
dangerous.
one who thinks this way. I'm glad. I thought I was being...
No, you got to be a responsible parent. It's, if you brake harshly or accelerate harshly or turn harshly, that sweet could lodge. And then you got to get out of the car, do the Heimlich maneuver, no, it's too dangerous.
100%. Other safety tips for your children is buckling up. Obvious one, but we've obviously spoken about the seat, so I'm not going to get into those details. Then checking the back seat. Something that I've seen a few times actually is having things that could roll around.
I almost thought you were going to say checking the back seat before you get out and leave your child behind.
Yeah, I mean, like thinking for things that could fly around and basically turn the back seat into a blend if there's accidents or something.
Yeah, people don't realize that leaving loose articles in a car
it's dangerous.
Is actually dangerous for everybody, not just the child. I'm a recreational pilot.
Yeah,
and one of the things is don't have things that can fly around in the airplane because you're in 3-dimensional space.
We don't think about it with our vehicles, though.
No,
because I have like my gym bag sometimes is there.
It's okay. It's soft.
Yeah. I mean, unless there's weights inside, then it's not so soft.
Why'd you be carrying weights around?
Too many questions. It's fine.
What is in the gym bag?
I'll tell you afterwards. But things can fly around. Things can fly around and become
projectiles.
Yeah, exactly.
Jinx, you owe me soda.
Oh, geez, I was about to say that. Oh gosh, your lunch is next. Keeping doors locked. This is very stock standard. I've actually been in a scenario, potential hijacking, where I saw because the door was unlocked, you become a higher threat. It's just easier to get things.
Yeah, I mean, my car obviously does the automatic car door locking thing.
Yeah.
You can't even hold my car's handles. You can't grab my car's handles because they recess into the door.
Okay, I was going to say, it doesn't electrocute.
I wish, but no. You know what irritates me at traffic lights lately?
What?
Is these people that sell things at the traffic lights and they stand in the way of your park distance control.
Yeah.
Have you had that?
I haven't had a situation, but I mean, my visibility is not the greatest in my car. And sometimes it blocks where I'm turning. So I'm not going to tell you why, but
are you sitting in the back seat when you drive?
I'm not one of those. I'm just a bit short, and my A-pillar, my little thing, one of the pillars is just too big. So it blocks my visibility. But anyways, yeah, that's keep your car locked. I know my mother, for instance, one time.
Especially for children, right? Because what do you do in a scenario where you're in a hijack?
Yeah.
You have a child in the car, in a car seat, strapped in.
Yeah.
What do you do?
This is the story. This is the plot of Tsotsi, that movie that won a Grammy. My first instinct would be to accelerate, to be honest. If somebody comes to the door, what is the best method to avoid that?
It's difficult because there's been scenarios where hijackings have happened, and remember the hijacker is especially if they're not a professional.
Yeah, he's gonna be.
Okay, he's gonna be as nervous as you are.
Yeah,
if not more.
Trigger happy. Almost.
Trigger happy and as nervous. So He'll rip you out of the car, not realize there's a child in there. There's been scenarios
so
where
they're hijacking me at this point. So that I'm driving and they come to my door and they're hijacking.
because you're the driver, right?
I'm driving off.
And you've got a child in the back.
No, I'm not gonna.
What are you gonna do?
I'm not gonna wait around and find out.
Sometimes it's not that easy. And they've climbed in the car, driven away, not realizing that the child's still in the car.
This is the actual plot I've taught you. So
and the child gets left on the side of the road at some point.
I'm not gonna wait around. There's no.
What do you do?
Scenario.
Besides driving away, what do you do?
Please wait, I have a baby. I'll probably just cry and scream.
Very difficult scenario.
Yeah.
Don't get yourself in that scenario in the first place.
But if you're in that scenario, it's probably advisable to just have a conversation with the guy and just let them know, can I get the child out? And then you can take whatever you need.
If it's a professional hijacker, yes.
Yeah.
If it's not a hijacker that's high, drunk, one of those. But here's another scenario with children.
Yeah.
This is my personal opinion. And that is baby on board stickers on the back window.
What if they come from the front though?
Do you know what the baby on board sticker is for?
Well, I mean, it's to tell everyone around you to be a little bit more cautious.
No, it's for emergency people to know that there's a child somewhere in this wreck. Find the child, right? So that's what it's
originally,
for. But it also becomes a potential target for hijackers because they know
you're going to be more
susceptible to just giving
not fight. Yeah, that makes sense.
So is baby on board sticker a good idea or bad idea?
It's always a good idea.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah, let's find out what you think.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, to smash the like button. A few more. We're running out of time. There's a few, but there's a few more that I want to bring up, unrelated to children. But one of the things is to keep your doors locked. And I was having a conversation with one of our colleagues, and I was asking her, what do you do if you see the window is closed, and there's children there, or in this scenario, child. But if there's a dog, are you gonna break the window, or are you just gonna?
Are you talking about a parked car?
A parked car, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a bit irresponsible to leave
like a window closed, with
the windows closed, and
just kids inside the car.
And kids inside the car.
Yeah.
It's just irresponsible.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Do animal
call the police
apply in that scenario? Do you like?
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be doing that in the sunlight. I mean, a dog, cat, whatever the case may be. But we're talking about children in this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, even worse, children. You shouldn't be leaving your children in the car while you bugger off.
That's my next tip: is don't leave children unattended in a car. So your rule is just don't do it at all.
Don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm breaking the window. That's my final answer. And that's if I do see it happen.
Well, I mean, I don't want to endorse breaking other people's cars, but
break the window.
I would stick around, make sure the child's okay,
Yeah.
call the police, call security.
Yeah. Do
what you can to make sure that child's okay.
A few last things before we leave, George. I need to speak to you about F1 before I leave. Is unsafe sleeping positions. Never something I've never thought about. But if you're traveling long distance, how your children are sleeping in the back. Obviously going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, so when I was a child, we slept on the back ledge of the car.
Yeah.
In those years, in sedans, the back ledge of the car was a big area. We used to sleep like wedged into the back window.
Yeah.
Very dangerous. I mean, I don't know what my parents were thinking, but
it's a different time.
It was a different time. But yeah,
kids were stronger then, more reinforced.
Less squishy.
Exactly.
But no, you're supposed to be wearing a seatbelt at all times.
Yeah.
When in a vehicle. So, sleeping across the back seat, great, but maybe you should be sleeping upright.
Mm. Then another one that I think a lot of people, the last one I'm going to leave you with is teaching children about reversing cars. So something that's come up is kids don't actually know what it looks like when a car's reversing. That is something that you learn, technically speaking, a bit older,
Especially electric car, it doesn't make a noise.
Yeah. So what does it look like when a car's reversing? Definitely, teach any child in your life what that looks like, just to avoid a scenario where they think the car's moving forward, but it's not. It's actually going towards them. And that's pretty much all I have for that segment. But did you watch, before I leave you, the Sao Paulo Grand Prix?
I thought the fight between
Alonso and
Perez and Alonso was epic. When Perez passed Alonso, I was like, no, this is not happening. Yeah. And then he passed him again. Yeah. I was like, yes. And the funny thing is, I am actually rooting for Hamilton to get number 2, rather than Perez. And I think the reason for me is I don't particularly favor Perez. I think he's a little bit of a spoiled brat.
I think you hate Red Bull. You've been saying it for like a while.
No, I don't hate Red Bull, man. I was just taking the mickey out of a team that isn't a real car of it. 100%. But I think they've done an epic job, an absolutely epic job. But I do think Perez is
not the man for the job.
I don't know. I think there are better people for that Red Bull. Ricciardo is probably one of them. There's better people for that Red Bull. As a matter of fact, I mean, if McLaren wasn't doing so well, I'd say Lando should be in that Red Bull.
Imagine that fight.
He'd give Verstappen a run for his money.
Let me ask you a question. If you're running the team and you know that, I mean, one of the reasons why Danny left was just because of that interfighting.
Yes.
But now you have a scenario where you're so dominant and you have a number 1 driver who's going to win, and you have a number 2 driver who's going to do enough to secure constructors. Are you, as a team principal, do you get a better driver, or do you leave that format because you know you're going to tick all the boxes?
No, you get a better driver, because at some point Verstappen's going to make a mistake.
Okay.
At some point. Look at what happened with Hamilton.
But
the entire year, Russell's been challenging him.
But then you have the risk of potential infighting in the team.
But then that's a leadership problem.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a reason to avoid it.
Yeah.
You should have the best of the best
Yeah.
in every position in the organization. Even if there's rivalry. It's okay.
I have some thoughts on that. I mean, I agree with you 100%, but I do have some calculated risks or calculated opportunity costs. You also save some money. I have some theories on this.
Okay.
For another conversation. Thank you so much, George. I think that's pretty much all I have for you.
See you later.
Yeah.